man. And if we were to take someone of our caliber and put through the same rigorous training of this individual right here, I mean, it would probably take years to the point where, by the time we got to the point of being there, our competitors would be far ahead of us. So it's this idea of like, okay, we can work consistently at this, but what are we actually working towards? So instead of putting all of us through that training, I want to present a more scientific solution. This is UB19. This is UB190 or Usain Bolt 0. You're going to drink this. It's a vial of his sweat, but it's going to give you super notes. It's not his sweat. But what I can promise you it'll do is give you the prowess of Usain Bolt. Okay, so say you drink UB190, poof. You are now a 6'5", 207-pound black man known as Usain Bolt, and you are faster than most, if not all, land mammals. Congratulations. Welcome to the big leagues, ladies and gentlemen. I got this is like, I'm 6'5", man. Yeah, that's you now. So now you got to show me what you got. Hope you guys got that reference. If not, I'm definitely going to date myself. But now that you're Usain Bolt, we want to see what you got. And you're going to do what you do best and run a 100-meter dash. Okay, for those of you that are unaware of how this works, here's a 100-meter start, and here's the 100-meter end. That's it. Okay, just one tiny length of the track. You've done this plenty of times in training. You beat plenty of competitors. This is your thing. This is what you do. And in fact, I'm so confident that you can do it. I'm willing to compensate you heavily for it. I'm going to give you $1 million to run a 100-meter dash. That's all you need to do. Okay. And I'm sure once you get that $1 million, you're going to make it rain on these hoes, garden hose. Shame on you. Shame on you for thinking anything else. Guys, this is a lecture. Relax. Okay. But what's the catch, Darius? What is the catch here? Hey, you got to do what you do best. And when you do it, you get $1 million. Okay. It's crazy, right? Here's the catch. Halfway through your race, there is a brick wall. And that brick wall extends across the entire track. And for those of you that are thinking, like, oh, it's a flat, I could probably jump over it. This brick wall is 13 feet tall. Mind you, Usain Bolt is incredible, but he is not a hurdler. He is a sprinter. You cannot jump over it. You cannot go around. So what's the conundrum here? Your capabilities are limited simply by your ability to get to where you need to go. So unless you can get here, you can't get that $1 million. You can't make it rain. What's the problem here? The problem is we didn't ask the question, is what exactly is being optimized? Why do we need to be Usain Bolt? Why would we need to study everything about this specimen? What's the point? Okay, he's demonstrating his capabilities. You've shown us what you can do before. Why do we need to just be consistent and study this information? And this, ladies and gentlemen, is where we are at as a society with our problem-solving capability. But let's go back to accomplishing goals, okay? One of the most common areas that come up, and I promise this is all going to make sense here soon, is business. And business is this like fascinating, I would say monstrosity, because it's really ugly, but it has so many pretty promises. Many people want to get into it because they believe it can provide financial freedom for their family. They believe it'll give them something to prove, or maybe they're not happy with the space that they work in. Now, maybe you believe that you're going to be the one in your family to prove people otherwise. Maybe your family didn't have access to the economy. Maybe they didn't have degrees. They didn't have the ability to, even for some of you in the back era, to start for a business. And you will be the first to do that. Okay? But business, I have to warn you, if that is you and you want to start your own business, business is an unforgiving beast. There will be no stone unturned. No self-development principle unattacked, no problem unexperienced. Okay. I don't say that to discourage anyone. I say that because that is the reality of the business landscape. You can take every single military course or every single indoctrination course, the hardest of the hard, but to Ranger, SEALs, MARSOC, Delta, you name it.
And business will be on top of that by a long shot, most likely by how far Usain Bolt was in front of his competitors. Okay? But here, I want to make this make a little bit of sense. Okay, there's this thing about business where people get into it, and it's really exciting at first. You think about it, you're like, the thought of financial freedom is incredible. I would love to start a business. I have this great idea. I want to hop into it. Maybe you want to start your own clothing line. You want to start your own makeup line. You see there's $1 billion in assets. There's $1 trillion industry. There's definitely a gap there. Okay, you work really hard. You're consistent. You're thinking about it every day. And you come up with this business idea. And you say, I've done so much work, so much study. I know this is it. This is the one thing that is going to make me rich. It's going to get me on top of the world. You say, I want to do a ring shank pneumatic or solid component design to support weight, transmit traction, and cushion against surface irregularities. Sounds so far so good. Key structural parts include something for ground contact, structural integrity, rim locking, and plies. Okay, now we're forming it. Sidewall codes, detail type, width, aspect ratio, construction, and size, along with speed ratage. I'm on board. You might got an early investor already. Okay, talk to me. What's the business gap here? Okay, because once you come up with an idea, it has to fill a gap, right? We have to know that it's going to be able to do. Once you come up with the idea, we need to know that it's going to do numbers. So then, what gap is it going to fill? Okay, you want to revolutionize transportation. You hit me with this on a 7-second elevator pitch. I might just take out my wallet and give you whatever $9 I have in here right now. You got it. You got your perfect best, your good job, a highly efficient way to get from point A to point B. We're sitting down talking about this thing. We're working on it every single day. We're refining the idea. We're putting in fancy words. We're typing it up. We're creating the plan. We're drawing schematics. We identify the gap, but then we get it vetted. You come to find out, oh, this has been done already. It's called a tire, ladies and gentlemen. Well, let's go ahead and ball all that up and then toss it out the window. That is devastating. And let me tell you, that happens thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of times in business, probably every single day. So Darius, okay, what's up with this WDR thing? Yeah, like this is a business lecture. Well, what's going on here? This is your brick wall. Okay, what happens with brick walls is we get so efficient. Okay, and this is coming from a guy who works in efficiency. We always think about efficiency. We always think about cutting the trim or doing something better or just being consistent, right? Making our path to the goal that much better. Right? We think about our Usain Bolt or even a couple of this amazing sprinter, but we never ask, okay, what's the end goal? Okay, before we start making everything so efficient, where actually are we trying to go? And this is where it gets a little bit tricky because efficiency itself carries an aura of seriousness, and we see it all the time. Better apps, better systems, better routines, better workflows, better tracking, and better templates. But we don't realize that efficiency is only admirable after the aim has been judged worthy. What happens time and time and time again, especially as we're transitioning into focusing on being more human, right? Having more time to do more goals, right? A place in a space that generations have never been before. We think about making things better before we even ask the question of where are we going? So before we continue, we got to get you back to yourselves. I want you to reverse, okay? No longer 6'5", 207-pound black man. We're going to come back to who we are so we can answer some of these long-standing questions we have here. Okay, one thing I want to make very clear is being efficient at the wrong thing or wrong direction is not excellence. It's what? Waste with better systems. That's a problem, okay? Because when you start wasting time, energy, and capital in this newfound space, you'll find yourself in places that are even more confusing than where we started. And trust me, it'll make sense as we go along. Modern life is increasingly optimized, but not necessarily well aimed. And goals are absolutely everywhere. And as we begin this transition, but we're well into it, you'll see goals more and more and more everywhere. And it's not a bad thing. But what do we want to ensure if we're having more goals? If you're more into what you want to do, if you're starting that business, if you're focusing on being that 5'5" super chiseled bodybuilder, okay, maybe you just want to create a safe space for your family. Okay, maybe you want to be a highly effective decision maker. Maybe you want to make that next rank. Maybe you just want to wake up on time. Whatever your goal is,
we got to have that D word, and that is directional. And in this modern battle space, direction is the scarce asset. Mother Earth is in abundance. She can provide whatever you want besides direction. Only you can do that. And we do that by asking the question, what exactly